Moving in now to the business section of the meeting. Item 7A, approval of the March 8th, 2016 regular commission meeting minutes and the March 14th, 2016 special commission meeting minutes. Minutes are in your packets. Should have had time to review.
There's one correction on March 13th. Commissioner Don Giacomo's name was omitted as the person who was on the phone call. As the phone call. Aside from that, I found no other corrections.
Mr. Sagata's name is spelled wrong. Neil with 7 L's.
7 L's. That's all right.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes corrected.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Item B is deliberate and act on resolution 2016-16, the February 2016 financial report. Mike Land?
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet this evening is the financial report as of February 29th. As you will see on my report, in the general fund, our ending cash balance was $190,086.87, less our 112th reserve and the small balance that we have left from the designated street improvement GRT leaves you an available cash of $776,238.35. The March gross receipts tax check this month, you will see that we are showing a decrease year-to-date per budget. The GRT received in March is typically a small disbursement because it does reflect the January business activity. So it's a little difficult to gauge kind of where we will be at the remainder of the fiscal year. So definitely with next month's check, if we're still showing a decrease year to budget, which we'll look at during our budget discussions next month, I think we'll kind of need to really try to calculate and forecast where we think we'll be come June 30. So we only have 3 months left of gross receipts tax checks. So you'll see in my notes that DFA has issued a memo with budget guidelines and deadlines, and so we'll be reviewing that next month. They are urging caution due to a statewide economic decline from oil and gas, and so as a result, we need to be prepared to, prepare a very conservative budget for fiscal year 2017, which is not an easy task, but we will start this process in a few weeks, and we will also conduct hearings in April and try to gather input from citizens and department heads. The interim budget, as always, will still be due on June 1st, and we will continue to track the decline of the GRT and discuss further at next month's meeting in case we need to discuss possible measures that can be taken in order to balance the budget for this fiscal year. I did review the report just to see if the food and medical deductions seemed reasonable, and they did. So I mean, we believe that's been fixed, but like I said, we're going to still track that every month. But the slight decrease that we are showing does equate to about a $28,000 decrease year-to-date per budget. Also in your packet is the entire report for all of the funds. For several months now in the Fund 2, which one is it? Fund 209, the police grants, we've had a deficit balance of $8,439.31. Those are the batteries for the dispatch server that we had to replace back in September, October. I believe that we will be getting that check probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, just based on conversations we've had with DFA. It turns out the person that we deal with is retiring, so they kind of are on a leave of absence right now, but they've assured us that that will be one of the items taken care of before they leave. So I want to get that one cleared up for sure. A few of the other deficit balances are just timing of grant reimbursements. So on next month's report, you'll see that most of that has been received. Other than that, unless there's any specific questions, in the month of February, we were 8/12 into the fiscal year, so we're looking at 67% of budget. You'll see that our departments were operating overall at 62.89%. So we definitely have delayed some purchases, and some of them may be delayed even into the next fiscal year if needed. So that's kind of been our approach all along, to continue to balance the budget. So, but like I said, we'll get into a little bit more in-depth discussion at next month's meeting when we start to review the budget. If there's no questions, I would recommend approval of Resolution 2016-16.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2016-16, February 2016 financial report.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2016-16, approval of the February financial report. Any other questions?
Once again, stay with how you're doing. The city is doing real well on monitoring everything, from shovels to paper clips to everything. So, proud of you guys.
Trish, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes,
Commissioner Giacomo,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sagata.
Yes, passes. Item D, deliberate and act on Resolution 2016-18, support of the Tiger 8 discretionary grant application. Mr. Barry?
Actually,
Mayor and Commission,
see, we have a budget
Did I skip one?
adjustment.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
I did.
budget
Oh,
adjustment,
well.
number
I
8.
scratched it off even. Okay, back up one. Deliberate and act on Resolution 2016-17, budget adjustment number 8 for fiscal year 16. Okay, Michael Ann.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, in your packet is budget adjustment number 8. This is a pretty simple budget adjustment. We're just moving monies from one line item to the next to cover some postage expense in our zoning budget. And then also you'll see some additional funds that we received in fire grants that we would like to move some money into our EMS fund to cover medical supplies, and a small budget adjustment in lodger's tax. I failed to include the gross receipts tax for those professional services. And then one other adjustment in our sanitation fund, just moving some money into our liability insurance line item.
Any questions for Michael Ann?
No, I'll move that we accept resolution number 2016-17, budget adjustment number 8, FY16.
Second,
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2016-17, the budget adjustment number 8 for fiscal year 16. Any other comments, questions? Trish, could we have roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez.
yes,
Commissioner Giacomo.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sagata.
Yes. Okay, now I guess we'll move on to item D. Deliberate and act on resolution 2016-18, support of the Tiger 8 discretionary grant application. Mr. Berry.
Mayor Pro Tem, and Commission, you remember at the last meeting, Rick Klein from the city of Lahana and Bill Sobel from Colfax County were here to tell you that they were successful in their application for Tiger 7 funding, and that's improving railroad infrastructure in New Mexico, Colorado, and Kansas. And the plan of municipalities that are along the Southwest Chief line is to apply for the Tiger 8 granting cycle. That's coming up fairly quickly, as Rick had reported, and the goal is to apply for a grant in the amount of $25 million. This resolution would express, if passed by the commission, would express your support towards the required matching funds by the local communities, and City of Raton's match would be in the amount of $12,500. That is what's requested. The commission can agree to any amount or not agree to put any funds forward at your discretion. There is one correction on the resolution I'd like to point out, and the applicant, which was decided late in the game, is the city of Lamar. So if we could scratch that first line that says city of Lahana, and we will change that to city of Lamar. They will be the applicant on behalf of all of the communities that are located along the Southwest Chief line. And as Mr. Klein had stated, this is a grant application that is done by a local community as the applicant. And also, as he has stated, the attempt is to get the states to grudgingly take part in this, and they have on the previous attempts. So once everybody gets on board, the states have got on board as well.
Any other questions for Mr. Larry?
No questions?
Being the railroad has been a lifeline of Raton since the beginning of time, I make a motion to approve resolution 2016-18, support of the Tiger State discretionary grant application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution 2016-18, support of the Tiger 8 discretionary grant application. Any other comments, questions?
I have a question. Was that money budgeted?
Well, it would be included in the upcoming budget if this is approved by the commission.
Okay, it doesn't have
So,
to for next fiscal year.
so in the previous in the current fiscal year, that was budgeted by the commission. We were invoiced and we paid that invoice, so we paid our amount for the current year. And this would say that we're gonna budget $12,500 in the upcoming fiscal year.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? And we need to make a note that Mayor Mance is here.
I would point out that last year, we agreed to two costs. One was the matching funds if the grant were successful, which it was. And also, we agreed to participate in the cost of the consultant services, but we're not being asked for that this year. And so, it's possible that if the Tiger 8 application is not successful, we would not pay. Only if the grant is successful. And no consultant costs in this cycle.
Any other comments, questions?
I think it's a necessary addition to our, I mean, it's a tough bite for our budget, but it also brings in revenue, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anyone else? Trish, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Schuster?
Yes.
Commissioner Giacomo?
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Segata?
Yes.
Mayor Mintz?
Yes.
Okay, passes. Item E, deliberate and act on resolution 2016-19, resolution of support for City of Raton recycle and illegal dumping grant application. Mr. Phillips.
Mayor Commission, the resolution you have before you is resolution of support for an upcoming application. To kind of preface this, the City of Raton is known in the New Mexico Environment Department as the hub for recycling in the northeast area. Essentially, that means we accept recycled material from other communities, Springer, Maxwell, actually Capulan Volcano National Monument. And we have in the past received recycling from the Whittington Center on a very limited basis. It's something that they've been generous enough to do themselves. They store the cardboard in whatever crevice they can put it, load it in a pickup truck, haul it to town, and they utilize their labor. Mr. Armacost has approached us in the past about the ability for us to provide a trailer similar to what you see at Armex right now. And the long and short of it is the first impression of Raton on New Mexico that a lot of folks get is arrival at the Whittington Center. A lot of these visitors are from communities from the East Coast where recycling is a lot more prevalent. And he's expressed to us that we've kind of looked backwards by not having those available. These people are used to recycling, and when they're told that we don't have that available at the facility, it looks poorly on us. On the downside, even in the spoke communities, we provide these trailers, and the material value that they generate doesn't generally offset the cost of us unloading them. It's just the reality that recycling commodities are worth an all-time low right now, and you have to be efficient to have any shot at them even paying for themselves. With this grant, what we've done is we've asked for 12,500 of NMED funding and offered to put up 2,500 of our own to provide a trailer that gives us access to those hundreds of thousands of people. It makes a good impression on Raton, and it's kind of the partnership model of recycling you'd like to see, because Mr. Armacost has assured us that his folks would connect the trailer, bring it to Raton, coordinate with us about opening the facility if it's after hours. We do our part to get them here. They'd go above and beyond to get their folks to recycle and to travel and provide labor to help unload the trucks. So I feel pretty good about this application. I would say in the application process, we point out that the ratepayers of Raton pay a disproportionate share in this hub and spoke system. We weren't awarded a grant very similar to this last year, and I expressed displeasure at that time and have kind of already fired the opening salvo that, in order for this to work, all stakeholders have to have some skin in the game. We definitely do, to the tune of about $35,000 a year. We've done our part for Colfax County. They provided some initial grant monies that started the program and kind of got it locked into place, but we've indicated to them that their continued support to help us grow and become more efficient is what's going to determine whether recycling remains vital or viable in this community. So I feel decent about taking our solid waste revenue and using it in this way, because at some point, the $2,500 that we've invested, we will get that back by going through the NRA. It may take a number of years worth of cardboard and plastic sales to get there, but I think all in all, in the broad picture of what it does for, the appearance of Raton and to kind of keep the recycling movement energized, it would be a favorable application, and I would like to ask for your support in this resolution to go forward with that process.
I have one question for you, Mr. Phillips, and you kind of touched on it with the other hubs out there that maybe aren't partaking as well as they should. Has there been thought to maybe taking the trailers from them and giving to NRA?
To be honest with you, the trailers are granted to the spoke communities.
Okay, that answers it.
We do have a meeting Mr. Wentling has set up for March 30th to kind of re-energize the Grow Raton volunteer movement, and they've been gracious enough to ask what help would be beneficial, and it's mostly recycling the right way. We're getting people to put stuff in the containers. Too high of a percentage of it is waste that we end up having to landfill ourselves and bear those costs. But more than that, it's, number one, our facility is a pre-sorted licensed facility. Everything should be sorted before it gets to our doors. And on top of that, the sorting is generally done from at least the spoke communities by City of Raton Public Works staff at considerable expense. So what we'll ask the Grow Raton bunch to do is to help come up with literature to educate our hubs. And, there's a thought of being punitive. I've been asked, well, why don't you fine them? That was the original deal. And if honestly the residents of Raton recycled better and it was an isolated problem with just the hub, the spokes, I would feel obligated to do that. But our trailers look no better on a typical Monday than Maxwell's or anyone else's. It's just an educational component that we need to get out there. So we'll get there, I think, in time. I don't want to always be the gloom and doom of recycling. It's just the reality is when I took this position, cardboard was worth 95 a bale or a ton. My most recent offer is 55. So what little we do generate doesn't go as far as it used to, so our volumes are going to have to come up and we're going to have to get more efficient to make this thing a go. But this part of it should help with both of those. The increased volume will generate some monies, and the public-private partnership should make it efficient. If all of our models were this well thought out and everybody offered to do what Mr. Armacost has, we'd have a lot less problems in recycling, to be honest with you.
Any other questions for Mr. Phillips? We'd entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2016-19.
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Resolution number 2016-19. Resolution supporting the application made by the City of Raton to the State of New Mexico Environment Department Recycling and Illegal Dumping Grant Opportunity. Any further questions? Chris, could we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Giacomo,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Segata,
Yes,
and Mayor Mant.
Yes.
passes. Thank you.
Thank you. And while I have the floor for 1 second, I'd just like to provide a late breaking update. Went to meet with Game and Fish on the bear-proof dumpsters last week to finalize the number. With some limitations they had on funding due to deprivation that they needed to hold back, our final number is gonna be 650 bear-proof dumpsters total. The purchase order has been issued today by New Mexico Game and Fish to bring production of those online. We should expect delivery of the first units within the next 4 to 6 weeks. And as a result of the decreased money available from Game and Fish, the City of Raton matching share will decrease from 235,000 to about 206. So we'll get some cost savings out of that as well. But hopefully, not long after the bears arrive, we'll have some dumpsters to do with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Item F, we have a lodger's tax contingency fund request, the Raton Country Club for a golf tournament. Mr. Barry.
Mayor Pro Tem Commission, the Lodgers Tax Board has not met. We have not been able to hold a quorum, but we do have some business here that's pressing. We're bringing this for your consideration. It has not gone in front of the board, and it looks like just because of travel and different things going on, it's gonna be a while till that board can meet, till we can get a quorum together. I would like to ask the city clerk, Tricia Garcia, to give you the information on the request for contingency funds that you have in front of you. Tricia?
This request is from the Raton Country Club. The representative is David Swanson. It's an annual golf tournament that they hold. It's a two-person golf tournament, and historically, the Lodgers Tax Board has approved funding for this event. It does draw a lot of people to town, fills up hotel rooms, that sort of thing that the Lodgers Tax Board looks for. The total cost of their tournament is $14,400, and they're asking for $5,000 out of the Lodgers Tax Contingency Fund. And as you can see, it's for things such as prize money, tournament fees, and advertising and promotional items. Any other questions?
I talked to Mr. Swanson on this. We got together and he wasn't able to make it tonight, and he explained everything. And this has been a good thing for the city over the past years, and I'd like to see it happen.
And I believe this is actually an additional tournament to the one that currently is, that we have great success with. So this, we would now be holding two tournaments with a significant entry. So I believe it is a good thing as well. Twice a summer, we would get 96 to 100 golfers in.
And all the promotional items that they use in the tournament do have Explore Raton on them.
Any other?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the request for the Raton Lodgers Tax Contingency Funds for the Raton Country Club Golf Tournament. Any other questions, discussion?
Is this coming out of promotional or non-promotional money?
You have a budget.
Yeah, promotional.
The contingency fund and the promotional fund.
Yeah, but they do the budget so screwy now. It's hard to know what they're doing.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, roll call vote, please, Chris? Trish?
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Giacomo,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Segata,
Yes.
Mayor Mintz.
Yes.
Thank you. Item G, deliberate and act on an MOU between the City of Raton and the Colfax County Senior Citizens, Inc. How would you like to handle that, Mr. Barry?
Well, you know, as happens in small towns, Mayor Pro Tem is also the director of Colfax County Senior Citizens, Inc., and I think would be the best party to give us information on what's happened previously between the City of Raton and Colfax County Senior Citizens and what we have in front of the commission tonight in the way of an MOU.
Okay, I'm happy to. This MOU is basically, it's identical to the MOU that we've had in the past with the city, or that Colfax County Senior Citizens has had with the city. The only change in this MOU is the city manager's name and the director's name for the Colfax County Senior Citizens, Inc. The previous ones had Mr. McGowan and Julie Mance on them. So that's the only changes in this that outlines what the city of Raton is expected and what is expected by the Senior Citizens, Inc. Also in Exhibit A, I gave you an updated copy, because what we're finding now as we are getting funding, they're being more picky, and to kind of divert the possibility of it, the anti-donation clause, we're having to show what our contribution back to the community is. And Ms. Mance, I have an updated one for you. But if you look on Exhibit A, here, this is just at the Raton Senior Center. For this year, 2015-16, we're projecting congregate meals of 11,800, home delivered meals of 21,500, transportation trips 7,550, 13,000 recreation hours, homemaker hours, which is where someone comes into the client's home and actually cleans it, takes care of things. We're projecting 3,200 hours there, and 1,250 hours of chore service. And the dollar side over there is what our cost is for the year to produce all of that. At the bottom, since we do have we do use the building, and graciously the city does not charge us a lease agreement, and they do pay some of the utilities, you can see that our costs more than offset the cost that would be that the city would lease the building to us possibly. This number was given to me by contacting a couple of the realtors in the city and some of the banking institutes to see what the value would be to lease a building our size, the type of building that it is, for a year. I thought it was kind of high, but but anyway, I'll answer any questions at this time.
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem, question on the homemakers' hours. Are these homemakers contracted to another agency? Or
No, sir. They are everybody is an employee of Colfax County Senior Citizens, Inc.
They're all certified? as-
Yep. On our homemaker and our chore services, that we have to do an extensive background check on them, and that they all wear their identification and that. And no one goes into a home without the client being there, so.
Okay, thank you.
And they're regular, aren't they? So that, I
Yes.
mean, it's the same person going to the same person's house.
Yes, because we kind of what you build is a rapport with the client. And you do more than just clean their house, you interact with them so that they feel viable. And also, you're keeping an eye on them, so we can report things that we notice that may be happening.
Well, I'll move that we accept this memorandum of understanding between the city of Raton and Colfax County Senior Citizens, Inc.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further questions? And I would like to state that I will be abstaining from these votes. If not, Trish, can we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Giacomo,
Yes.
Commissioner Chavez.
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
Mayor Mann.
Thank you. Item H, deliberate and act on an MOU between the City of Raton and Colfax County Senior Citizens, Inc. regarding emergency use of the Raton Convention Center. Again, I'll take the lead on this. This was originally drawn up while Mr. McGowan was here, and it was about the time that we were making all of the change, and it kind of fell through the cracks. We're required by our funding agency, which is the Area Agency on Aging, to have in place a contingency plan should a disaster happen at our facility and we can't use the facility for a while. Mr. McGowan and I sat down at the time and talked about this, the possibility of, since the convention center does have the cooking facilities and that if in the event something happened to where we needed to prepare meals there, we could do that for a short period of time until our building was back up and running. Talked with Mr. Berry about it. He's on board with it, and I would just appreciate your support.
And I would state my support of my recommendation to the commission for approval of the MOU to use the Raton Convention Center as in the case of an emergency.
How would this work in the case where the community kitchen has it and they need it right now? Who has preference? How
Well,
would that work?
we're, in that case, if we had an emergency and we had to use the kitchen to produce meals and we had community kitchen activities going to, it's going to take a lot of cooperation. And so it always is communications between the parties. So I think we can do coordination on that and, good communications and try to get the cooperation of everybody. But I would think that if something happened there, we could make that work.
We'd be willing to work with any party involved.
Yeah, I don't see that would be a huge problem, and we could easily, when we make the agreements with those using the community kitchen, just add that as a stipulation that there may be emergent times that would arise that they would have to step aside.
And I think whoopie pies would be on the menu for a senior center.
I would agree, yes, indeed.
All right.
I'll second that.
So I'll move that we accept this memorandum of understanding between the City of Raton, Colfax County Senior Citizens, Inc. regarding emergency use of the Raton Convention Center, including its kitchen.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Trish, could we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Chavez,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuster,
Yes.
Commissioner Giacomo,
Yes.
Mayor Mance.
Yes.
Thank you. Item I, City Manager's Report.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, we did attend the New Mexico Municipal League District meeting today. All the commissioners were in attendance, so you all know everything I'm going to tell you. But for the information of the public, we do conduct these district meetings following the legislative session. We just concluded the 2016 legislative session, and it's a valuable meeting because the Municipal League, which is located across the street from the Roundhouse, gives us a recap of what happened during the session. So they came to Raton and presented a program on what was proposed during the session, bills that came out that went to the governor, other bills that the governor vetoed, what may be coming up in future legislative sessions. And the summary of that was the 2016 session was a 30-day session, not a lot of time to conduct business. Very few of the bills did make it out of both the House and the Senate and made it to the governor. And then the governor vetoed some of those, but talked about some of the important legislation and presented good information. Also, we do, as a member of the Municipal League, rely on New Mexico self-insurers for our liability insurance and our workman's compensation. And we did have a presentation from self-insurers as far as the state of self-insurers fund and where we're standing on workman's comp and liability. So again, that's good information. We also did get a presentation from a representative from New Mexico Finance Authority. That's important because most of the borrowed money that the city does have right now currently is through the New Mexico Finance Authority. That's been a very good option as far as funding our infrastructure needs. And we will meet with New Mexico Finance Authority tomorrow morning. Myself, Michael Ann Antonucci, and the mayor was requested to be at the meeting, so we'll talk about the time on that. But we will meet with New Mexico Finance Authority at City Hall tomorrow morning. I could report to the commission that with warm weather, getting into springtime, I've talked to Mr. Campbell about our projects around Lake Maloya, and so basically we have two projects going, two sources of funding. Seegers from Creek Restoration Project, there's still a little work that remains to be done on that project. And we talked about the snow came in last November and caught us before that was complete. We also are at the end of our funding through the Water Trust Board for watershed restoration. So I anticipate that within about a month of good weather, we'll complete that watershed restoration project, close out that Water Trust Board. It's a combination of loan and grant, come out in good standing and be able to go back to the Water Trust Board and apply for future projects. I would tell you a report that Chief Matthews, as we had talked about last meeting, has had some contact with Federal Emergency Management in regard to mitigation funding. Chief has conducted an additional meeting with FEMA here in Raton to submit final applications for that. That's a big effort, a lot of paperwork. I want to give my thanks to Chief for all the effort on that. We're really looking at two different areas here. One is funding for an emergency center generator, and then also mitigation of our wildfire interface that we have through town. So Chief reviewed that with FEMA representative, got the paperwork in. It'll go to them and go through their process, and we'll report back to you on what we find out on that. I would tell you that in the capital outlay, we had reported last time that the final capital outlay bill that did make it out of the legislature and went to the governor included $150,000 for street improvements, $50,000 for improvements to our water treatment plant, and the governor did line item veto that $50,000 for the water treatment plant. So, you know, that's basic critical infrastructure for a small town. We felt like a little misinterpretation there, I think, on the importance of this to Raton and how we were going to fund the balance of the project. But at any rate, the governor did veto that, did sign, did include the $150,000 for street improvements in the bill that she signed. As far as the water treatment plant, general manager of water department is looking at an application for, again, a combination of grant funds and loan through USDA, our US program, I believe, correct, Dan? And we're working together to try to get that together, and that's mostly him. So that's, again, a big task. Anytime that federal component is in there, it's a lot of work and a big task. So we'll try to recover from that veto of our water treatment plant funding and proceed along with that project. On the as far as work done by our crew here recently, I'll report on public works. We put an emphasis on drainage improvements prior to what hopefully will be a rain season. We see a little rain. It's pretty dry right now, but we are working on a handful of drainage improvements. We don't want to get away from patching streets, so we've been doing some of that this week, and also the street sweeper did have a breakdown. We ordered some parts, running again. It's been out running for the last couple of days, so we're trying to clean streets. Parks is a big issue in public works right now. We've been doing preparation of softball field and baseball field, getting the irrigation system up and going. Water department has had some work to do that they need on their booster pump station. I believe that's operational now, and so we're ready to get into the irrigation season. But big effort on getting all the parks and irrigation system and ball fields ready to go. We did have a meeting with the design team of the Great Blocks project. They did submit their final plans, and we walked the project with them, went through some of the details. If anybody is interested in seeing that, not a lot of difference between what we've posted out in the lobby before, but they are calling those final, and their estimate to build the project about $1 million. So we're talking about options on trying to fund the project, and of course one option would be try to break that up into units and fund those as we can go along. But we'll be beating the bushes trying to find some funds, because it's a great project. I believe would really turn around that downtown First Street area, so we definitely want to bring some options to the commission on funding that project in the future. And speaking of that area, I did want to give you an update on construction of multimodal. So Jason has put a drawing on the board of the design of multimodal, and in the picture you see, which was put together by our design team, at the top of the screen, it's really something you can't see, but that's the railroad tracks, and we do see a lot of people getting on and off Amtrak in Raton, very large numbers. One of the largest numbers of passengers embarking and disembarking along the Southwest Chief line. So you don't see the railroad tracks, but that's at the top of the screen. What we're emphasizing here is along First Street, we're currently constructing bus shelters, and if you went out there today, it'd be hard to distinguish what it is that's getting constructed. And I've had that question, what is it you're building exactly? But it looks something like what you see there, 2 bus shelters, and we see a lot of passengers transferring from the bus to the train and from the train to the bus. That happens a lot at this site. You'll see on the left-hand top side of the screen, there's a parking lot area there. You'll see kind of in the middle at the top, a bench area. There's a couple of those, and a lot of landscaping. So that's kind of what the plan looks like, where we're heading. There were some changes that were made from the final design, but generally you get a pretty good idea of what's going on there. And we ought to start seeing a lot of progress on this project now. They did start early in the winter, and it's cold, a lot of winter weather, a lot of shutdown on this, but we ought to start really seeing some progress. And I think by the first part of summer, we'll see this project constructed, wrapped up, and we'll get there. So this is a photo of what the project looks like today, and you can see the back wall of the bus shelters in this photo. On the left-hand side of the screen, you can see the bench structure being constructed. They're getting ready to pour some concrete for those arches there. In front of that will be the columns that you see in a gable roof structure spanning that. So that's a status. Really hard to tell what you're going to wind up with if you go down there and look at it right now, but that's where we're heading. So that's progress on that. I think we'll see this project moving along fairly quickly now. And Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, that's all I have, unless you have some questions for me.
Any questions?
Have you heard anything about the South Interchange project?
I'm sorry?
The South Interchange project, have you heard any startup times on that?
I have not heard. I'll call somebody at DOT at the district and see what the plan is. Weather's getting good, so I would think that project is ready to recommence. One thing I meant to report to the commission, I had on the list here, but I did meet with representatives of the Beehive Assisted Living Project. Their engineer was here in City Hall a couple of days ago. We sat down with our staff as far as utilities and permitting, and went over the requirements to issue all the permits. So they tell us that they're in the design phase, doing the detail work. I know some surveying has taken place on the site, but they have stated they intend to go to construction this summer with the project.
Were they gonna have any time where the, local residents around that property would be able to have input on the design, or, they had mentioned that in the beginning?
They had stated that, and I would say that, yeah, I think the neighbors there, if they are interested in doing that and they can get with us, we'll get them in contact with the developer and the design team. And I think that they would be happy to reflect, architectural style or what the residents would like to see there. I think that can be done.
Yeah, I think lighting was their main concern, it seemed to me.
Okay.
What happened to the wagon and the oxen pulling the wagon?
Yeah, that structure was in the way of the project and we moved it, but it was just moved. We need to find another place to reconstruct that, and so maybe that's something we take to the commission and decide on, but it's just being stored currently.
Yeah, that was a Main Street, that's a Main Street project.
Right, right,
Funded by Main Street.
yeah. An unfortunate sighting of that structure, so yeah, it had to go, but we plan on reconstructing it, so it's a discussion we need to have.
Any other comments? Any other business for the commission tonight? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.